Yo, what's up, guys? It's Cory Talaska here. We're back here for another vlog. I've been in New York City for like 3 weeks doing work, but in the meantime, my dad did take care of a few awesome things. We got our Sicky Winter's quick change and subframe in right before I left, and he was able to toss everything in, put the whole new rear end kind of together how it goes with the proper fab work upper arms since the yellow speed coilovers are true. Now finally today I got my stuff in from Condor Speed Shop for my rear subframe bushings, along with their steering shaft, steering column rebuild kit, which we'll get into. Along with a whole other set of goodies. My dad bought this one shelf just for all the new stuff. We got the nitrous outlet bottle holder, which is sick. They got their little emblem in here with the bottle in. Everything all here is like kind of mocked up, ready to go when we're ready to get to that step. Our fire safe suppression bottle. We have oil cooler. We got a bunch of welding tabs and brackets and hardware for the season. We got a different oil filter than we usually run because of the drift motion remote oil cooler or oil filter setup that we're going to run. So this block that goes right on the block with the two sensors and then two dash 10 fittings are going to run into this, which we're going to relocate somewhere like right here, and then bam. And then if you guys were following me on Instagram, you saw that I got this big order of Deechworks stuff in. I got some fun little AN wrenches and stuff. We have our 3 fuel pumps. We have our new injectors and a bunch of fuel line and stuff. Another cool thing that happened when I was gone is my dad welded up all of the holes in this part of the firewall, which there was a lot. Made this bracket and welded to basically bulkhead fittings for our oil line or our water lines to go through the firewall, which is going to be a way nicer setup than we had before. Remade this plate. Originally had this plate as carbon fiber, but it was really thin and probably not going to pass tech, so that's what that's going to fix. So what we're going to do for starters is put the Condor bushings in the rear end, and then everything else is ready, so we can mock the rear end up in the car and see if there's anything else in this area that we're going to need to cut out to have clearance for this. So I just finished putting in the bushings in. They went in super easy. Small holes to the front, big holes to the back, fat part of the bushings on top. Press them in, pound them in. They go in super nice. And now we're filling the quick change up with some red line fluid, which is thick as heck, but once we do this, then we can mock fit it. So we put 2 quarts in. What I saw online is that you put 2 quarts in and then let it all kind of drain down, especially since we're using heavy fluid. And then the fill plug that's on the front right, it should come out. Basically, that's where you want to fill it to. Since this is a brand new diff, there's nothing anywhere, so we'll see if this is going to be enough. Alright, so we got the subframe and everything mocked up. We are just about up, all the way up in the front. We're like about a ½ inch on this side, an inch on the other side from going up. So we do have to notch the trunk a little bit more, which this is 2 layers thick, so we'll have to notch all that out. But it should clear underneath where this platform is. So we're going to do that and then try it again. Alright, so all notching done. Quick change in. Just temporarily, it has to come out one more time. But everything's up in, all bolted tight. Now, this side, what I did to get, since we're running the upper arms and not the perch like we were before, it changes the whole alignment of the back a little bit. So what I did is, because the clearance is pretty tight on these dope yellow speed rear coils, so, and because the positive camber that this was pushing it out, it was just hitting the frame. So what I did was put the BC coil in, or not coil, but the shock, because it has clearance because there's no spring. Jacked this up, put a tire on here, got my alignment close, and then now I'll put the yellow speed in and they should fit. I did the driver's side already. Now I'm getting ready to do the passenger side. So basically I have the wheel on, jacked up to like what ride height was, and now I'll adjust my camber and toe a little bit just by eye to get it close. Then I should be able to toss the yellow speed coils on, and yeah, we'll test fit everything. Alright, so here's the driver's side with the yellow speed true coil over in. We got like probably 3/16 to 1/4 inch of clearance in the back, so everything fits pretty nice. Here's the external reservoir, which will mount once we cut the back half of the car off. We'll have a place for this to swing down, but the rears are inverted, obviously, because of this wouldn't fit up here. But yeah, it's adjusted right now as low as it goes, so we're probably about an inch to inch and a half higher than what my usual ride height is, but we'll get our full shock travel this time. With our old setup, we were not getting full shock travel, even though we were low and it was cool, but we were bottoming out, which really is not ideal, especially for a pro scenario. Here's the passenger side, same deal. Got a little bit less clearance here, but we'll take care of that. We have like probably 1/8 now. I just want to get a little bit more just to make sure everything's all good. And yeah, so now we got to drop the whole rear end one final time, weld up our gap that we made with notching, because where we cut here is kind of like the rear chassis crossmember of the car. So we're going to plate that in, and then we can put this all back in for the final time. Alright, so we dropped the rear end. Now my pops is taking apart the rest of the rear and like some cardboard templates for the spot that we need to seal underneath there. And then, why is zip tied up here?
I thought I cut them off, but I didn't use it.
No, you're good. It just comes out. Stock bumpers are flimsy.
That's good.
It is good. So he'll weld that up, and then what I'm doing up here is we got some new stock inner tie rods, because I still have a hella bent one right there. So I'm just going to replace both of them, and then we'll have the one, and then we'll have some more for spares during the season. But because what I want to do is, since I have the Condor steering shaft, is put this whole thing in, mock it up, because you have to cut the shaft to length with that kit.
Yo, Falk, hit 'em up, hit 'em up.
Alright, so now that the inner tie rod's changed and this thing's ready to go, minus the stock steering shaft, I'm going to put this in the car, mocked up, so we can get the length for this universal with steering shaft. Because basically, you take these ends, you slide it over the end of this, you get to where the exact adjustment is on here, you mark where your set screws go, and then we'll dimple into this so your set screws are actually doing something. It'll make a little bit more sense as we go through it, but it's nothing too crazy, and it's way, way better than using stock, especially still with the rubber bushing. So we'll just put this in the car now. So here's the stock steering shaft next to the Condor, better one. You can see that there's going to be way more clearance, and then these are just better, getting rid of the rubber bushing and everything. So I just kind of have this set in with the set screws. I'm going to toss it into the car. We'll see what length adjustment we need to do, and then we'll mark where the set screws are, divot this rod so then it'll be secure, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so now with both of the U-joints slid on perfectly, what you want, the goal is to have the set screw line up with the little channel, the slot in the spline. And when you do that, the Condor shaft fits perfectly. Sticks probably a 1/16 out each end of this joint. I have it locked down with one set screw. You can use the set screw to mark, but what I'm going to use is a drift punch that fits the hole perfectly to tap it, because you want to dimple these holes where the set screws go so they actually have something to go into. So we'll do that, and then this thing will be done. So basically I just dimpled just enough, and basically the size of these dimples are the little bit one size bigger than the set screw itself. Alright, so this is all good. Dimples are made, everything lines up. I'm going to blue Loctite this when I do put it back together. For those of you that want to put this in a street car, probably use red Loctite because you're going to touch it way less than I am. And this is going to come in and out quite often for me because it has to come out every time I pull the engine. So I'm going to use blue. But I'm not going to Loctite it for now because I'm pulling this whole thing back out. Now that this is made, it'll be super easy because literally once you have the set screws loose, the shaft just slides in and out, boom, just like that, and then that's going to stay on. So, and my dad's welding that. So this little tab that I got chilling on the cage right now, it's magneted up, is what goes through that hole is the fire suppression pole. So I sat in the car and positioned it. This is where the bad boy's going to go. So we got that tab welded in, so that's ready to go. And then while I was doing the stuff in the front of the car, my pops finished cutting the back half of this out, so the car is way shorter now. And then he lined up and cut where the frame rails were, and then we welded in plates that we'll build the back half off of. And then also cleaned up where we cut around this. We'll probably end up plating this or whatever to reinforce it to where we cut out for the quick change. So yeah, it's looking like less of a car. Alright, and that's going to be it for today's vlog. We got pretty much what I expected to get done. We got the coils mocked up, super happy about that. We got the rear end mocked up. We cut the whole back half of the car off and then got our coupon plates in to start the rear of the car. We got the fire suppression system handle or tab welded on. We got the front inner tie rod of the bent side replaced, and we got the Condor steering shaft all mocked up and done for when we go back in the car. So the next thing is probably going to do is mock up the engine with the QuickTime bell housing to make sure we don't have any clearance issues, as well as continuing on the back half of the car. Hopefully our Big Duck Club full overs will be here at some point in time in life so we can finish this whole back end and then we'll bolt everything back in. Another thing that I'm waiting on, of course, is our transmission, which hopefully is really soon. And then once we have that, we can put the motor and the tranny in the car along with the rear end that is now ready so we can get a length for our drive shaft that is going to have to get remade. But that's pretty much it for this video. So like, comment, subscribe. Deuces.